Hello and welcome to the Ground Podcast. I am Avnish Naik, your host, and this is part two of our conversation with Mr. Meghan Belsare. So I called him because I wanted to know about injuries in cricket, and the first thing that we did in part one is watch Hardik Pandya and how he got injured and try to analyze how much time it will take and what exactly is the nature of the injury. This part is a bit different, so no worries if you haven't watched part one, but it is kind of very interesting and the conversation is very interesting, so you can go and watch that as well. But in this episode we talk about some other things, dive deeper into the physiology of cricketers. So keep watching, and if you like, do subscribe. Oh, that rhymed. Do people say that? I don't know. Do people say that? There's no one here, but all right, just watch it. We'll talk later. Now I have a question
Yeah.
that uh, if this kind of a thing happened with any kind of player, do you suspect that it would have been the same consequence, or is it dependent on your body type, on your way of handling things? Because some players are just so much better at handling the fall as well, more than other people. So
Yes. So, okay, okay. Got your question, and it's a good question. But by any kind of player, do you mean any kind of a cricket player or any kind of any
yeah, we
player
can stick
playing any
to we
sport?
can stick to cricketers' body type, and
Yeah.
how people, yeah.
Yeah. So most of the people wouldn't have tried to, stop the ball.
Hmm.
Most of the people, because it was slightly out of the reach,
Hmm.
and being at the velocity he was bowling at, he bowls at, let's say, what's his average, around 135.
Yeah, 135 to 140 is what he bowls at. Hmm.
Yeah, so that is huge. Now, when he's bowling at that speed, usually the ball just goes past by. People don't stop bother, like don't bother to stop the ball. But he's given his heart and soul, and it's, commendable effort, as I just said. Uh, See, this is a very awkward stance for him and awkward stance for any player. So any player undergoing the same kind of reaction and reflexes which he is shown over there will suffer from the same injury.
Hmm.
But the only chance of probably preventing this injury is if he'd had supreme reflexes, like he stopped his speed or follow through at that point of time, and tried to jump towards the side. But that's the only way you can avoid an injury which he's undergone.
And how much time does it take to, like, let's assume that it is an ankle injury first and then the knee injury and all. So how much time does it take to recover from something like this?
I think just for the swelling to settle down, it's going to be around 7 days, 7 to 10 days. And for from then, it depends if they've, decided to go for a surgery or no. They've decided to go for a conservative, like no surgery, just physiotherapy and strength and conditioning rehab. So if it's surgery, it will take around 5 to 6 months. If it's no surgery, it will take the same amount of time, probably lesser, depending on how the player will react. So Hardik Pandya, even though he's very lean, he's got a lot of muscle and he's very strong as well. So I think he should be back within the next 4 to 5 months. Not the next, but total of 4 to 5 months.
Oh, well, yeah.
Usually ankle injuries take around 6 to 8 months to recover completely, depending on the type of tear they've undergone. So if there are three types of tears. I'm giving you a very brief and plain
Yeah.
explanation. Okay, there are very
And use words
complexity.
for a stupid person because I know nothing about this. So you
Yeah. So
in layman's language.
yeah, but it's in overall, it's very in very layman terms, there are three grades of injuries: grade one, two, and three. Mild, moderate, severe. So depending on which grade, the rehab time will take longer. Okay, if they are saying it's a minor tear, it will take around 4 to 5 months to get him back on the field.
Hmm.
Moderate and severe will take around 7 to 8 months completely. And in severe, they usually decide to go for surgeries. So,
Hmm.
but he will
Yeah.
be suffering from lack of balance because there is slight damage to the ligaments. Ligaments
Hmm.
are our balancing, rocks,
And what
and
are
they
ligaments? Ligaments are between
so
muscles and
yeah.
yeah.
No, they are soft tissues
Okay.
Ligaments are soft tissues, just like muscles,
Yeah.
but uh, ligaments are very high. Okay, mm, imagine you see a building under construction, and then there are concrete blocks, and then there are steel bars or iron bars coming
Hmm.
in from the concrete blocks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So those can be compared to ligaments. They hold the joint in place
Okay.
because the joint undergoes so many movements during any kind of a physical activity or a sport. The muscle usually moves the bone, but the ligament holds it in place. It's kind of a stopping mechanism,
Hmm.
restrictive mechanism for joint to not act haywire.
Now I think if my science teacher would have just said that, I would have gotten 5 marks extra than what I got and maybe passed the exam. So, but yeah, now I understood what it is. And
Yeah.
so my next question was, and this actually stemmed from the Athletics article. The Athletic is a sports media company, and they were also talking about how two players compared in a football industry. Some of them will go through injuries every year. Some of them will get those minor
Yes.
injuries, but still consistently play a lot. And they talked about
Mm.
genetics. They talked about different body types and etc. So is it the same thing in cricket? We see a lot of players playing for 15, 16 years. Although I know that football is a very high productive game,
Scientifically.
and cricket is like a spur of the moment where you have to kind of sit for a lot of time and then quickly take a over ball, or you are sitting in the dugout, come to bat and straight away run at high speed for a single.
Yes.
So yeah.
Mm. So yeah, you cannot compare cricket with any other sport because it
Mm,
includes. So I'll give you a brief explanation of
mm,
why cricket is different, and not only as a sport but also from a sports science point of view.
mm,
uh, Cricket involves lateral to forwards running while fielding. It requires high velocity sprinting while fast bowling, high velocity arm revolutions while spinning or releasing the ball, a lot of wrist work, a lot of core work, and a lot of running between the wickets. So it has a lot of running, jumping, and it targets hips, shoulders, and ankles simultaneously. While in football, all of that does happen. Football, you never stop in football. You're constantly running.
yeah.
While in basketball, also, it's going to be the same thing, or any other team sport for that matter, except for maybe some parts of handball uh, that they have to stop at a point. But most of the team sports, they keep running. And in cricket, it's very intermittent. So that's the word we should focus on, intermittent. So pausing for a moment and then focusing on the action or the explosion or whatever it is that they are doing.
Mm,
Uh, Genetics do play a role in injury prevention, but a lot of it goes, a lot of the credits for injuries go to the type of sport you're playing. Now, when you're talking about cricket, some players tend to get injured a lot because some players utilize their bodies a lot and not train enough for, making good of that capacity. Now, I'll
mm,
explain this very simply. You have played any video game. Okay,
yeah.
everybody has played any kind of a
Yes.
video game. They
FIFA.
understand this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, but any kind of a game.
Uh-huh.
So you have a life bar of 100.
Mm,
Okay. Uh, Usually players work towards that life bar of 100. They try to take it down to zero as their energy source, right? While playing the cricket. But what players like, let's say, Virat Kohli, or let's say Cristiano Ronaldo, in football, these guys, what do? They try to, take it to zero, but they also try to simultaneously increase their energy levels by
okay.
training continuously. So making that bar go from 100
Mm,
to 120 to 150 to 200. So why doesn't Ronaldo get injured that often is because of this particular thing, that he trains a lot, increases his energy levels a lot, and uh, they did his biological testing when he first transferred to Juventus. and they
Yeah.
declared that his biological age was around 18 to 20 years old, and he was 35, for God's sake. I think we can have similar results when it comes to Virat Kohli also.
Mm.
So you have to train to make your body adaptable also, so that you can utilize more energy,
So
or you can
injuries
keep.
happen when your energy is kind of low and you don't
Yeah.
want that to happen very quickly in the game. Are you saying that?
So yeah, injuries can be classified into two, three types.
Hmm.
First is impact, second is non-impact. So this was non-impact injury.
Non-impact, yeah.
Impact injury is he would have got hit on the knee or the ankle with the ball, and his knee would have or ankle would have gone for a toss. That's an impact injury. And then there are overuse injuries. So when you tend to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and after a point you just land up with some kind of aches and pains, and then one day one trigger is enough to land, like, make you land up in an injury.
Hmm. So, but
So
then yeah,
hmm,
sorry, just coming back to the question itself. So, in cricket, then you're saying that players like Virat Kohli, for example, because of their training, they are constantly increasing their maximum energy levels or like capacity energy, and that's why they can play continuously for
yes,
more
very,
years. Yeah.
very plainly in a layman's language, I've put it
Mm,
forward that
mm,
you have to keep training also. So most of the general population, when I ask them what kind of an exercise they do, they say that we walk. But walking is utilizing the energies. It's not training yourself. So you need to
oh,
train yourself to make sure that you can walk better, or
mm.
maybe even run if you can.